I did not expect to be making this video today, but breaking news, college basketball video games are returning. EA Sports posted this on Twitter literally just 43 minutes ago. It is a picture of a basketball with the EA Sports logo, and it says, "Bring the madness, let's run it back, hashtag college basketball or CBB, and hashtag it's in the game." So I can't believe this. I expected maybe at some point to get a college basketball game back, but I wasn't expecting an announcement so soon. And Matt Brown of the Extra Points newsletter released a newsletter right before EA dropped the announcement saying, college basketball games may be returning. And I was starting to make a post about that because I was like, holy cow, this is crazy. And then EA dropped the official announcement. However, Matt Brown did have a ton of really good information in his newsletter that we're going to go over here in a second about the upcoming college basketball games. The information is in the premium version of the newsletter, so please go check it out yourself. It's super cheap. I think it's like $9 a month or something. And Matt Brown just continues to have really good information regarding video games, but just college sports in general. So definitely go subscribe to his newsletter. I'll have it linked down below. So first things first, you may be wondering when the game is supposed to release. Matt Brown posted this on Instagram at Extra Points MB. It says EA Sports looks to bring back college basketball video games in 2028 to 2029. Will include women's hoops. Okay, so that gives us the release window. We're looking at about 3 years from now, 2028 to 2029. So 3 years to develop the game, assuming they haven't really started yet. So I think that's kind of similar to how they did college football. They announced it, they worked in, I think, 3 to 4 years and then released it. And just like college football, they're going to be building this game from the ground up. I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of, bare bones when we get it, kind of like college football 25, just setting that foundation. But, that's a lot of speculation and getting too far ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about what we know right now. And then as the post said as well, it will include women's hoops. Obviously, college basketball for women has kind of blown up the past couple years, even the WNBA a little bit, especially just with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, some of those other girls. And so, that's great to see. It's an option. Like, it's not like it's just a women's basketball game. Obviously that probably wouldn't sell amazing, but it's like, hey, give us the option. I'm sure there's, some girls or even dudes that want to go play with Caitlin Clark on the video game or whoever the next Caitlin Clark is. You get the point. It's awesome to see, them getting that recognition. So college hoops coming back includes women's college hoops as well. So another thing to note is obviously that EA is the one bringing back the college basketball video games. It's not 2K or a different developer. It's EA, or at least they're the only ones that has announced it yet. So obviously 2K is the one that currently makes the NBA video game series. EA used to have NBA games, NBA Live. They used to be, the main game before 2K kind of took them over. And then EA tried to bring it back, the past, a few years ago it was now, and it flopped. And they discontinued it again. So that'll be interesting to see because as I just said, they're going to have to build this game from the ground up, but like maybe even more so than college football because at least college football, they still had Madden. They could use some things to cross over. They had the basic gameplay, right? Because they still made a football game. They don't make a basketball game, so that'll be interesting to see. I would love to see 2K also take a stab at it. Competition breeds better games because they have to compete, they have to be intuitive and innovative and create new things to keep the consumers and the customers happy because they have another competitor who's also making a game. That's obviously not the case right now with NBA games, not the case with college football games, not the case with NFL games, not even the case with MLB games. So I would love to see with college basketball, maybe finally we get some competition because that makes better games. Multiple companies actually submitted proposals to CLC, the collegiate licensing company, to bring back college basketball video games. Matt Brown also posted this on Twitter. It's from his Extra Points newsletter, and you can see that the CLC issued a request for proposal for standalone comprehensive college basketball video game in November 2024. So the CLC first sent a request for proposal to 5 different companies. You can see that in the second paragraph. 3 of those companies responded with submitted proposals. And then you can see in the final sentence that EA Sports offered the best proposal, basically. I assume 2K was included in this. I assume they were one of the 5 companies that, received the request. But in the end, the CLC chose EA Sports to bring back the video game. And if you're unaware, the CLC basically owns the copyrights to most of these universities, these large universities, think all of the big D1 universities, they basically own most of those, the rights to those, the logos, the trademarks, the mottos, the slogans, everything. And so it's easy for a company like EA Sports to go through them to get the rights to like all of those schools. It would be harder to not use them. In fact, it would be extremely challenging not to go through the CLC. And so I would imagine that kind of rules out like 2K or a different company also taking a stab at it, but I don't know exactly how all of that works. Like I said earlier, I would love to see 2K or a different developer take a stab at this as well. So for the rest of this video, I'm going to go over what's in Matt Brown's Extra Points newsletter. There's a lot of good information. Again, please go check it out yourselves and consider subscribing. There's also a free version, so like even if you don't subscribe, you can still get some good information. I'm not going to share any screenshots from the newsletter, but I will provide some of the information. So the first thing it mentions is that the college basketball video game will include a lot of the same type of game modes as college football. So, think Dynasty mode, Road to Glory, Ultimate Team, basically everything that we have in college football will probably also be in college basketball. It'll probably be named something different, but it'll be the same type of game mode. And Matt Brown also mentions that it'll include, the live service stuff, the microtransactions, like all of that is pretty standard for an EA game these days, so that'll also obviously be included in college basketball. Now here's where it gets interesting. It is not guaranteed to be a yearly release, like college football is, like Madden is, like 2K is. All of those come out with a new game every single year. The agreement with EA in the CLC for the college basketball video game is it's a 6-year term with a minimum of 3 games and a maximum of 6 games. So EA has to make at least 3 games and they can't make more than 6 games. This is different than the other agreements such as Madden or college football because those have a minimum of 1 game per year. Well, I assume they also have a maximum of 1 game per year, but you get the point. Like they just release 1 game every single year. That's how they maximize their revenue. And us players often criticize it because it's like you can't really make a good new game every single year. It feels like we're just paying for a $70 update. And other people, including myself, have said before, why not, do a 2-year life cycle, a 3-year life cycle? So you release 1 game once every 2 or 3 years, you continue to update that game until the new game releases, and that gives the developer more time to actually make a new good game. Well, it sounds like they might try that with college basketball. So they'll release the new game in 2028, and then they have a 6-year term. They have to release 2 more games after that. So they might not release one immediately in 2029 and 2030. The reason they would do this is because historically college basketball video games did not sell nearly as much as college football video games. So they might think it's not worth, putting the time and effort in releasing a new game every single year. They might do one every 2 years. That would be, the 3 games across 6 years. So they would release the 1 game, update it for 2 years, release the next game, update it for 2 years, and then do it again. I'm very much in favor of this model because, again, you're not just paying for a $70 update every single year when the new game comes out. They actually have time to create a different new game, and you just play the 1 game for 2 years. Now, it'll be interesting to see if, when they do update the game, if you have to pay for some of those updates or how they make their money. But again, the reason they would do something like this is because college basketball doesn't sell as much as college football, or at least it didn't back in the day. The last time we got a game was like 2009, but that's how it was back in, those times, 2009, 2005, all of those years we had video games for college basketball and college football. So last thing to talk about is this video game will be titled EA Sports College Basketball, just like, football is EA Sports College Football. It will not be called NCAA Basketball like it was back in the day. And, football used to be NCAA football. They got rid of the NCAA licensing. The challenge with that is that the NCAA has a lot more control or say, or even just their name a lot more is on college basketball than it is with college football. The tournament at the end of the year for college basketball is called the NCAA tournament, whereas in football, it's the college football playoff, not the NCAA playoff. And similarly, apparently the NCAA controls the trademark March Madness. So that's obviously a huge issue. Like, how are you going to create a college basketball game without March Madness? So I imagine that EA Sports will work out a deal with the NCAA, whether that's licensing just, a few things like March Madness and the NCAA tournament, or if the NCAA will be, a bigger part of this game, even if they're not in the title. But I imagine that's how that will go down. That would be interesting, though, if they didn't have the NCAA, and then maybe like a company like 2K was like, oh, that's kind of our opportunity. Let's make a game that's actually NCAA basketball to compete. But that's just my thought process. I know I said last thing, but this is actually the last thing. Matt Brown also wasn't able to confirm, any platform. So it'll obviously still be on Xbox and PlayStation, but will it be on PC? I'd imagine not. Also the Switch, probably not. But that'll be 3 years from now, so who knows. But that's basically it for this video. Like I said, I was not expecting to make this, but absolute bombshell. College basketball video games are returning. EA Sports College Football set to release in 2028. I'll continue to update you on College Football 26 and all those video games, but as well as college basketball video games. So definitely subscribe here and follow me on all socials at TubbyCFB.